And now for the latest in an ongoing saga that is sadly not as sweet as its subject matter. Dozens of American Ben & Jerry's franchise owners who together generate over $23 million in annual revenue coming together against the corporate office. An open letter signed by these franchisees calling on Ben & Jerry's and their parent company Unilever to rescind their July decision to stop business in the, quote, occupied Palestinian territories. With me to analyze their complaints, CEO of the International Legal Forum and attorney Arsen Ostrovsky. Arsen, it's great to have you back with us. Could you maybe just sum up some of the main points of the letter? Why are these franchisees rebelling? Is it ideological? Is it money?
Look, I have to say, my heart goes out to them. It's really heartbreaking. They write, first of all, how they've been, personally their lives have been affected by this. How many of them have been shamed by customers, by those people they know, as if they're part of this decision that's been brought down upon them from the Ben & Jerry's head office. At the end of the day, they are there to sell ice cream, not engage in politics. So what's essentially happened is that they've been thrown under the bus by Ben & Jerry's global office. But what's truly important here, and I think that also goes to a large extent to explain why they felt the need to write such a letter, and they make it very explicit that they have suffered, I quote, substantial financial loss. People are not purchasing ice cream to their stores. They're not visiting their stores. They are losing money out of this decision by Ben & Jerry's. So what they said essentially in the letter is that, the conflict itself is a complicated one, and that they do not want to be drawn into that. People are free to choose as they wish, but not when it adversely affects their business and their interests, including under the franchisee agreement with the Ben & Jerry's global company. So they've asked for, in the end, is for Ben & Jerry's to withdraw and rescind this decision because it is having not only a personal effect, but also having a substantial financial effect on their business and their livelihood.
Yeah, I mean, I know we had it just on the screen a minute ago, but I feel like the ending of their letter really sums it up quite nicely. Those who feel strongly about Israel and they want to boycott it or some part of it, of the territory it administers, are free to do so. They cannot, however, do that at our expense. Do you suspect that Ben & Jerry's will ever reverse course on their decision, or will they just double down and hold firm?
Look, I don't know. I don't think anyone has a crystal ball where they can look into that. But I do believe, and as we're seeing now, there is immense fight back against Ben & Jerry's. It's not only the franchisees that are speaking up. There are various organizations, NGOs, pro-Israel groups, including within Israel and outside in America, that are speaking up, and that they see this not only as something that is discriminatory and illegal, but that really essentially acquiesces unequivocally to the BDS movement. I think as the chairperson of Ben & Jerry's has said, that her intention was essentially to boycott all of Israel. She wasn't talking about which side of the green line. She was talking about all of Israel. And that, whichever way you look at it, is not only illegal and discriminatory, but also inextricably anti-Semitic.
All right, so speaking of the legality issue, what other pressures have been mounting? I've heard of several states joining in on the threat to use anti-BDS laws against Ben & Jerry's and Unilever. Florida, for one, I think being the most recent, to give Unilever 90 days to reverse course. How do you see this progressing?
Well, I think this could have a potentially major significance. We've had, in addition to Florida, as you said, gave 90 days for Unilever to overturn this decision, or otherwise face a threat of Florida withdrawing all of their investments in Unilever. But it's not just Florida. There's, I think, half a dozen states now, including Texas, New Jersey, New York, Illinois, Maryland, I think Rhode Island as well. So Unilever stands also as a parent company to lose a substantial amount of money through loss of contracts, but also potentially under these state anti-boycott laws, which would require the states also to withdraw or to divest from pension funds, for example, in Unilever. It could prevent Ben & Jerry's seeking contracts in a number of states. And there's also the possibility of legal action here in Israel under the Israeli law. So there's certainly a lot of angles with which are being looked at the moment. But one thing is certain is that both Ben and Jerry's here in Israel and those who stand with them and stand opposed to the boycott campaign will not stand idly by.
All right, Arsen Ostrovsky, thank you so much.
Thank you.